But we may be seeing the formulation of a game plan and tactics from this training footage from Gervonta Davis.
Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is going to feel something from it. And it ain't going to be easy to hit it.
Gervonta Tank Davis has the entire boxing community buzzing after new training clips surfaced, revealing a stunning physical transformation ahead of his clash with Jake Paul. The unbeaten fighter looks more powerful and explosive than ever, displaying a noticeably bigger frame and devastating strength during intense gym sessions. Many fans believe this could be the most dangerous version of Davis to date, and Jake Paul may be about to face an opponent at the absolute peak of his game. Davis has earned his reputation as one of the most electrifying punchers of this generation, and he's no stranger to breaking the internet. Known for his vicious knockouts and that cold, composed attitude before unleashing chaos, he's long stood out as one of boxing's most intimidating presences. But this latest training footage feels different. In earlier camps, Davis built his dominance on quickness, precision, and slick movement. Now, though, everything about his approach seems more intense and deliberate. His once compact frame appears to have packed on clean, lean muscle, giving him an even more imposing look. A transformation that's as impressive as it is intimidating.
My biggest fear, I never want to get embarrassed. You know?
What you mean? How would you get embarrassed?
As far as like me not doing my job, feel me? Like I'm not worrying about nobody else because I know skill for skill, none of these guys can mess with me. Nobody. I feel like my skills is way better than like Floyd. Like if I'm on my game, well, I take it right hand in hand. But skill wise, nobody on TV that's fighting right now have more skills than me. Nobody. Like talking about top to bottom list of fighters that's fighting on TV.
So what that got to do with you being, I guess, embarrassing? Like, cause again, we see you make posts on a story like the fight not happening. Like,
cause I don't never want to like me not doing my job like all the way, like me not training all the way, me not, you know. So that's what made me like. So I was supposed to been in camp, you know, and I wasn't in camp, so it was me like, all right.
Oh, okay.
It pissed me off so bad that I was like, all right, I don't even want to fight no more.
Chambers cautioned Jake Paul against underestimating a fighter who may be smaller in stature, but far superior in skill. While he admitted that Jake holds the edge in size and raw strength, he stressed that Davis's speed, precision, and knockout power make him a nightmare for anyone who steps into the ring. "If you're not a beast yourself, Tank will expose you," Chambers warned. His remarks echo the growing debate among fans and analysts. Can Jake's physical advantages really offset Tank's elite boxing abilities? In Chambers' view, the outcome seems obvious. No amount of size will protect Jake Paul if he gives Gervonta Davis even the slightest opening.
That something like this can happen, but this is social media. This is what is created. There's a lane that Jake Paul has created. Honestly, I'm not mad at him for it. He's gotten a lot of fighters and, you know, actual fighters some shine. It also has done for women's boxing a lot. So I'm not mad at him for what he's been in boxing and what he's created. This is a little crazy. This is a little crazy. And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is going to feel something from it. And it ain't going to be easy to hit it. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out. So there's nothing that Jake Paul can do aside from make it extremely ugly by grabbing him and probably trying to throw him to the ground. I don't know what else, bite him. I don't know, but I mean, the skill level alone. Now, of course, there is a size difference, a height difference and all that, but he's just going to struggle so much landing a shot. You know, it's just going to look bad. To me, this is the way I see it. It's going to look bad. Tank is going to be too fast. And the punch, I believe, I'm not saying it's going to knock him out or, you know, but he's gonna feel it.
Davis has issued a chilling warning in the lead-up to his fight with Jake Paul, boldly claiming he could drop a 300-pound man with no fight background. Renowned for his explosive power and blistering speed, Davis made it clear he's not bluffing. Size doesn't matter if someone doesn't know how to fight, he said in a recent interview. Skill will always beat size. The undefeated lightweight star explained that boxing isn't a contest of brute force. It's a test of timing, technique, and precision. And while a much heavier opponent might rely on raw mass, Davis is confident his speed, sharpness, and knockout ability would leave them with no chance.
You think is the minimum weight of someone that could beat you in a fight?
Minimum weight?
Yeah,
Right.
someone's like 250
Yeah, probably like 250, 220 or some shit like that.
with no experience.
Yes sir.
Someone with no experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, hell no. They gotta have experience to beat me.
No, but like a 300 guy, no experience. You think you
Nah,
can beat him?
I'm whooping that ass. I'm whooping that ass.
Even with Davis's intimidating new physique and intense training clips making waves online, plenty of fans and analysts remain skeptical. They argue that his size could be a major disadvantage against Jake Paul. At just 5'5" and having spent most of his career dominating the lightweight division, Tank would be facing a significant gap in height, reach, and weight against the naturally bigger Paul. Critics point out that no matter how strong or explosive Davis looks, physics can't be ignored. Jake's 190-pound frame might be able to absorb shots that would fold smaller opponents.
Suddenly, we want to know who will win in this fight, Jake Paul or Tank Davis. It's a legit question, and I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win, because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think. You got
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
yo.
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank
The
too
way
little.
I did, I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. That weight classes for a reason.
Tank Davis
That weight classes for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
Bro.
He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70 pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. 135 pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30 pound difference, bro. If you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30 pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is going to happen versus Jake.
Many fans have started drawing parallels between the upcoming Jake Paul versus Davis showdown and the well-known Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather exhibition match, another textbook battle of size against skill. In this case, Davis plays a role similar to Mayweather, the smaller, more technically refined, and far more seasoned fighter. Jake, much like his brother, is banking on his size, power, and forward pressure. In the Logan Mayweather fight, Logan's size allowed him to stay upright. But Mayweather's sharp timing and precision made it clear who controlled the ring.
Jake Paul, Tank Davis fight got moved to Miami.
I think Jake wins.
Jake's just so big, dude.
I think Jake wins.
This is different because it's similar. It's similar to Logan versus Mayweather, but Jake Paul now obviously is way more advanced than where Logan was at that moment in time.
I mean, it's just fucking sick.
I mean, yeah, no, but dude,
Did
Jake.
you ever watch his highlights?
Jake can crack, man.
He's so sick. I love that guy.
Boxing analyst Aid Oladipo offered a more cautious take on the matchup, suggesting that this fight is coming too soon in both fighters' careers. Unlike the exhibition between Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul, which took place after their peak years, both Davis and Jake Paul are still in their prime. Oladipo argued that the fight seems driven more by hype and spectacle than by legacy, and could pull each fighter away from more meaningful opportunities in their divisions. In his view, this kind of crossover bout would make more sense further down the line, once both men have achieved more in their respective paths. For now, he sees it as a risky detour that could distract from their true potential and long-term ambitions in the sport.
Whether you agree with it or not, Gervonta is considered the #1 lightweight in the world. And it's a division that includes Shakur Stevenson, a lot of young guns coming up. I'm not any more sure if it's going to include Keyshawn Davis, but it's a hot division. He's considered #1 in that division. Like, that's why I kind of find this a bit, don't know. Like, there are challenges out there for Gervonta. There are big money fights out there for Gervonta. We want to see Gervonta in those fights. Again, I don't know how many fights people want to see AJ in, just to make the AJ Jake Paul comparison. One, as far as I'm concerned, that was Tyson Fury. I don't really have any interest in seeing an AJ in any other more fights. Whereas Gervonta Davis, I wanted and still do want to see him in so many more fights. So yeah, it's kind of weird. These exhibition things are like, really and truly, they should all be when your career's done. Like when you think of Floyd versus Logan Paul, done, right? Floyd versus Conor, did he have one more after? Was that it? I can't even remember. But it was right at the end. It was done right at the end, even if it wasn't, right at the end. These guys having these exhibition fights in between what is the peak of their career is kind of weird for me. Very, very weird. And then it isn't even comparable to Ngannou Fury, because at least these guys were the same size. Like Jake Paul is a 215, 220 pound guy. I don't know what he walks around at. Gervonta fights at 135. Guessing he walks around about 150.
At the press conference, Jake Paul highlighted the clear physical advantages he believes he holds over Davis, particularly his superior height, reach, and size. He explained that Tank's preference for closing the distance creates openings he plans to capitalize on with long-range power shots and calculated counters. Still, Jake made it clear that a win over Davis wouldn't suddenly make him an elite fighter. Instead, he described the bout as another important step in his evolution, a chance to prove he can hang with world-class competition rather than claim top status overnight. His remarks struck a balance between confidence and realism, showing he's focused on earning respect through performance, not just hype.
I would say a lot of things, but I think first and foremost is going to just be my reach, my size, being able to keep him away. I think there's a lot of holes in his defense that a lot of people haven't exposed before, and he's a great fighter, one of the best. I'm excited. He's elevating me to a new height. He's making me push myself to my limits. I'm more locked in than ever, but at the end of the day, I know I'm going to be able to come out on top and outbox the guy who's been doing it for 7 times as long as me.
Jake just said that Tank has been boxing for 7 times as long as Jake has been boxing. They started out this press conference by saying Jake started boxing 5 years ago. So 7 times 5 is 35. Tank is what?
Jake Paul didn't hold back when talking about Gervonta Tank Davis, making it clear he isn't intimidated. He boldly claimed that if their paths crossed outside the ring, his size and strength would give him a clear upper hand. Paul dismissed Davis's fearsome knockout reputation, insisting that Tank has never gone up against someone with his level of toughness. "He's too small to scare me," Paul declared. His comments quickly spread online, adding more fuel to the growing rivalry. While Davis remains focused on training and preparation, Paul continues to turn up the heat with confident talk, promising to prove that raw power can outmatch precision. With both fighters brimming with confidence and the trash talk escalating, fans are anticipating a high-voltage showdown when the two finally square off.
A 5'8" little peon. If we were in the streets, I would grab that little ginger and smack him upside the head and make him forget who the fuck he was. People don't realize I'm a real killer. I really fucking do this shit. YouTube this, YouTube that, Disney that. This shit is not a joke. I'm knocking out the best of the best, beating all of these people time in and time again. And it's about time that you old heads and all these fucking boxers who think they know about the sport put some respect on my name.
The stark size disparity between Davis and Paul raises important concerns about fairness and safety in their upcoming bout. Davis, who usually competes around 135 to 140 pounds, will face an opponent who stands nearly 6 inches taller and could outweigh him by as much as 70 pounds on fight night. Although the match is set at a catch weight of 195 pounds, Jake Paul is expected to rehydrate to around 215 pounds once the fight starts, while Davis will likely weigh closer to 150 pounds inside the ring. This kind of weight gap is typically seen between lightweight and heavyweight divisions, categories that boxing regulations generally keep apart. Many analysts are pointing to historical examples to remind fans that skill can sometimes defy size differences. A notable case is David Haye's 2009 victory over Nikolai Valuev, where Haye, weighing roughly 217 pounds, defeated the towering 7-foot, 316-pound heavyweight, a nearly 100-pound difference.
The tiny man, 5'5" and I reckon his in-the-ring weight is somewhere around 145 to 150 pounds. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is around 6 foot. We're not quite sure. I think he says he's 6'1 or 6'2. I've heard other people saying I think he's closer to 5'11, 6 foot. But the point is he's a much, much taller man. And in the Mike Tyson fight, he was over 220 pounds. So the size difference is massive. This fight's been made at 195 pound catch weight. But after Jake's rehydrated, assuming there's no rehydration clause, which I don't believe there is, he'll probably weigh around 215 pounds in the ring. That means there's a sort of a 60 to 70 pound difference between the two men in the ring on fight night, which is absolutely enormous. There are weight classes for a reason in boxing, and this is the sort of thing that is typically not allowed or permitted. And like I said in my intro, it goes to the heart of that key question in boxing, which is how big is too big? It's the reason that the pound for pound list exists, where we kind of imagine if everybody was the same size, who's the best, who's number one? And it's a debate that rages on and on and on. And so when I see a fight like this, I think the hardcore boxing fans, generally speaking, have felt frustrated by it. Yes, because we want Gervonta Davis as part of the actual sport, competing for world titles against the other elite guys in his weight class. But also because if he gets knocked out and loses to Jake Paul, it creates this illusion that Jake Paul's much better than he actually is. And so I guess the question for me is, can Gervonta Davis beat Jake Paul, or will Jake Paul simply be too massive? Can Jake Paul use his size, or will Gervonta Davis simply be too skilled? What's the answer here? And in trying to answer this, I looked to history, and there's one fight that immediately popped out of my mind, and I thought, I wonder what the size difference was there. In fact, it may even be more significant, and it was, and the small guy won. Some of you might be thinking about it right now. It's when David Haye took on the monster, the absolutely ginormous human being, Nikolai Valuev. I think it took place around 2009. So at the time, I was literally a teenager. I didn't have a clue what I was looking at, and I'd fully bought into this David versus Goliath story. But I think it's an excellent example here to draw comparisons between the Gervonta Davis-Jake Paul fight to try and understand whether or not this is a good template and blueprint to try and predict and understand what the size difference might look like in the ring. Now, David Haye was 6'3" and was 217 pounds for the Valuev.
Despite Valuev's massive size and reach advantage, Haye relied on his superior speed, precise timing, and agility to outmaneuver him and secure a decision victory. This matchup is often referenced as a modern-day David versus Goliath story in boxing. The narrator uses this example to imply that, although Gervonta Tank Davis is significantly smaller than Jake Paul, his high skill level could still give him the edge, demonstrating how top-tier technique and smart tactics can sometimes overcome overwhelming physical size.
This means that the weight gap was just a tiny bit under 100 pounds, which is obviously 40 pounds more, 35 pounds more than the gap between Davis and Paul. And there was a 9-inch gap in their height versus what seems to be a 7-inch height gap between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. And if you go back and watch that fight, David Haye wins it fairly comfortably. He uses his speed, his power, he moves around the outside of the ring and comprehensively outboxes Valuev, even hurting him at one point in the fight. I remember getting so excited seeing it and thinking, God, he's actually managed to wobble the giant. This is ridiculous. And so on the surface, that was a bigger gap, a harder fight for David Haye than Gervonta Davis might find Jake Paul as an opponent. The size gap was significantly bigger. And Nikolai Valuev was a guy who won over 50 fights. You know, this was an actual competitive heavyweight boxer who'd beaten some decent names.
Aiden Ross, a well-known streamer, is confident that Jake Paul will surprise everyone in his fight against Gervonta Davis. According to Ross, anyone who doubts Jake simply doesn't grasp the sport of boxing. He believes Jake has steadily improved with each bout, and now possesses the skills needed to take on even champion-level opponents. Ross pushes back against critics who dismiss Jake as just a YouTuber turned fighter, pointing out that Jake has already proven his abilities inside the ring. Adding to this, Paul recently announced that he has passed all USADA drug tests leading up to the fight, agreeing to random testing by the premier anti-doping organization. This move is designed to quiet rumors and accusations about performance-enhancing drug use. With a firm no-excuses stance, Paul aims to show that his power and stamina are the results of hard work, not chemistry.
All of you Karens who accuse me of being on steroids as the reason for winning all of my fights, we have the strictest drug testing possible for this match. U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. Random drug tests at any moment. Oh, look. They're here now.
Hey, USADA, he in the car. Looking good. See if you're on steroids. Clean as a whistle, contrary to what they say.
Experts largely agree that the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight is about more than just boxing. It's a worldwide event. Combining Jake's mainstream celebrity status with Tank's elite boxing talent, this matchup goes beyond typical clashes like Canelo versus Crawford. It highlights how entertainment and broad appeal are becoming just as important as pure sport in today's boxing scene.
You know what I mean? Especially Tank been talking about retiring, so why not get the bag and then go about your business if that's your plan? I mean, if that's your plan to retire, then go get the bag and then go about your business. You ain't doing nothing wrong. I'm not against it.
You got some people that are very critical, Tank. Does it make sense depending on what you're in boxing for? Because you got some people that want to fight the best. You got some people that want the accolades, the belts, the undisputeds. And you got some people that just came in this game like, look, I'm trying to get my family out of poverty and give us generational wealth. Does it all depend on what you decided to box for?
Well, Tank accomplished a lot at a young age.
Will Tank's skill and knockout power be enough to overcome Jake Paul's size and confidence? Or is Jake poised to pull off another surprise? Let me know what you think in the comments.